First Contact Revisited. The Galactic Archives were supposed to be quiet at this hour. Dr. Vina Xariel moved through the darkness, her bioluminescent spots providing just enough light to navigate the towering shelves of data crystals. As the Archive's leading xenorchaeologist, she had spent decades studying extinct civilizations, but nothing had prepared her for what she'd discovered in the restricted section. Her tentacles trembled as she inserted the ancient data crystal into her reader. The holographic display flickered to life, showing footage that shouldn't exist, images of a species that had supposedly perished 12,000 years ago, the humans. The official records claimed their homeworld had been destroyed in a natural catastrophe, a convenient lie that generations of young scholars had accepted without question. But this footage told a different story. It showed Council warships surrounding a blue-green planet, weapons primed. The date stamp made Venus' heart stop, exactly 1 day before Earth's destruction. "I knew I'd find you here, Doctor." The voice made her jump. Director Cullen emerged from the shadows, his crystalline form catching the dim light. Fascinating species, weren't they? The humans. "You knew," Venus said, her voice barely a whisper. The Council archived footage of their own crime. "Some truths are better left buried, Doctor, especially now." Callum moved closer, his crystalline body humming with tension. "There have been anomalies at the edge of Council space, ships with signatures we can't identify, technology that shouldn't exist." Venus' spots flashed with sudden understanding. "They survived, didn't they?" The humans found a way to escape. A distant alarm began to wail, its cry echoing through the massive archive chamber. Callan's form pulsed with urgent colors. "That's the deep space warning system. It hasn't activated in over 1,000 years." The main display screen flickered to life, showing a massive fleet emerging from the darkness between stars. The ships were beautiful in their alienness, sleek black vessels with lines of blue energy pulsing along their hulls. But it was the symbol displayed prominently on their sides that made history suddenly, terrifyingly alive. A stylized image of Earth's continents, surrounded by stars. "Attention all Council worlds," a calm human voice echoed through every speaker in the archives. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Remnant Fleet. 12,000 years ago, your predecessors tried to erase humanity from existence. They failed. We escaped. We survived. We evolved. And now, we have returned." Vina watched in awe as more ships appeared, their numbers beyond counting. Each one was larger and more advanced than anything in the Council's arsenal. This wasn't just a survivor fleet. This was the arrival of a civilization that had spent millennia preparing for this moment. "We are not here for revenge," Admiral Chen continued, her voice carrying the weight of 12,000 years of exile. "We are here for justice. Your Council will answer for its crimes. Your leaders will face trial. Your weapons will be dismantled. But your innocent civilians will not suffer for the sins of their ancestors." Callan's crystalline form had gone almost transparent with fear. "What have they become?" he whispered. Vina studied the massive fleet, her xenorchaeologist's mind racing to understand what she was seeing. The humans hadn't just survived, they had thrived in the darkness beyond Council space. While the Council had stagnated, comfortable in their supposed superiority, humanity had been driven by something far more powerful than complacency, the need to ensure they could never be victimized again. "They've become exactly what the Council feared," she replied, watching as the human ships took up strategic positions around every major Council world. But not in the way anyone expected. They're not here as conquerors or exterminators. They're here as judges. The alarm continued to wail as more ships appeared, their numbers seemingly endless. Humanity had returned, and with them came the dawn of a new age in galactic history. Vina couldn't help but feel a strange hope mixed with her fear. Perhaps this was exactly what the stagnant Council needed, a reminder that the universe was far larger and far less predictable than they had imagined. As she watched the fleet's deployment, a new transmission began. The humans were broadcasting their true history, their escape, their long exile, and their return. They were ensuring that this time there would be no convenient lies, no buried truths. This time, the whole galaxy would know. The age of secrets was over. The children of Earth had returned, and nothing would ever be the same. The hidden colony. The massive observation dome of New Terra Prime offered a breathtaking view of humanity's greatest achievement. Admiral Chen stood at its apex, watching ships move between the 7 artificial worlds that formed the heart of human civilization. Each sphere was the size of Earth's moon, constructed over thousands of years from asteroids and planetary debris, their surfaces covered in sprawling cities and vast agricultural domains. Hard to believe it all started with 3 generation ships and 10,000 refugees, said Dr. Marcus Santos, approaching quietly to stand beside her. At 98, thanks to their advanced medical technology, he looked no older than 40. As humanity's leading historian, he had dedicated his life to ensuring their true history was never forgotten. The Trinity Fleet, Chen nodded, recalling the names every child learned: Hope, Defiance, and Legacy. Our ancestors had no idea if they'd even survive the journey. They just knew they couldn't stay and wait for the Council's betrayal. The observation deck's holographic display activated, showing their territory. A massive sphere of space, nearly 1,000 light-years across, hidden within a nebula the Council had deemed navigationally hazardous. Their ancestors had discovered that the nebula's unique properties could mask energy signatures, making it the perfect hiding place for a civilization rebuilding itself. The Council's biggest mistake, Marcus said, wasn't trying to destroy us. It was assuming we would either die quickly or remain primitive survivors, scraping by on the edges of space. He gestured to the cityscape below, where anti-gravity vehicles moved in perfect synchronization through the artificial sky. They never imagined we would do this. Chen smiled slightly, remembering her history lessons. The first century had been the hardest. 10,000 humans struggling to survive in 3 massive ships, searching for a safe haven. They'd found this nebula purely by chance, its swirling gases capable of hiding them from Council sensors. The decision to build their new civilization here had been unanimous. "Show me the Sentinel grid," Chen commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing a vast network of automated defense platforms and sensor arrays extending far beyond their territory. For 12,000 years, these platforms had monitored Council space, gathering intelligence and ensuring their sanctuary remained hidden. "The latest reports?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. The Sentinel grid had detected the Council's slow decline centuries ago. Marcus pulled up the data with a gesture. Their technological development has been stagnant for the past 3,000 years. They stopped exploring, stopped innovating. They became exactly what they feared we would be. A species so convinced of their own superiority that they ceased to grow. Below them, a group of children ran through one of the massive agricultural domes, their laughter carrying through the observation deck's audio sensors. Unlike Council worlds, where different species rarely mixed, these children were a testament to humanity's adaptation. Some had skin engineered to photosynthesize. Others had enhanced strength for high-gravity environments. All were human, yet each was adapted to thrive in environments their ancestors could never have survived. "We're ready," Chen said quietly, watching the children play. "Not just militarily. We're ready to take our place in the galaxy again." Marcus nodded, but his expression was thoughtful. There will be those who want revenge. 12,000 years hasn't erased the pain of what was done to Earth. "That's why we waited this long," Chen replied. "We needed to become more than our anger. The Council tried to destroy us because they feared what we might become. We had to prove them both right and wrong. Right that we would become incredibly powerful, wrong about how we would use that power." The holographic display shifted again, showing their fleet formations. Each ship was a testament to human ingenuity, powered by artificially created singularities, armed with weapons that could reduce planets to atoms, yet also equipped with medical facilities and humanitarian supplies. They had built their ships not just for war, but for the peace that would follow. "Launch the diplomatic probes," Chen ordered. Across their territory, sleek black vessels smaller than shuttles began their journey toward Council space. Each carry a complete history of what had really happened 12,000 years ago, along with proof of humanity's survival and development. The probes would arrive at every inhabited world simultaneously, ensuring the Council couldn't control the narrative this time. "It's time the galaxy learned the truth," she said, watching the probes disappear into FTL. "Not just about what was done to Earth, but about what humanity has become. We're not returning as conquerors or victims. We're returning as guardians." Marcus studied her face carefully. "And if they resist?" Chen's expression hardened slightly. "Then we'll show them exactly why their ancestors feared us. But we'll do it our way, precisely, carefully, and without a single civilian casualty. Because that's the difference between us and them. They tried to destroy an entire species out of fear. We'll protect entire species, even from themselves." As if to emphasize her words, another group of ships appeared in the artificial sky. Massive hospital ships and relief vessels, each one larger than the Council's biggest battle cruiser. They would follow behind the military fleet, ready to provide aid and assistance to any worlds caught in the coming conflict. The children below had stopped to watch the ships, their young faces filled with wonder rather than fear. They had grown up knowing this day would come, raised not on thoughts of revenge, but on the responsibility that came with power. Humanity had spent 12,000 years becoming something unprecedented in galactic history, a species with the power to destroy civilizations, but the wisdom to choose not to. The Council was about to learn just how much humanity had changed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council's reckoning. The Grand Council chamber on Nexus Prime had never felt smaller. 5,000 representatives from across Council space sat in stunned silence as the proof of their civilization's greatest crime played out on the massive holographic displays surrounding them. High Counselor Vex Thor, his crystalline form dulled with age and stress, watched the recordings with mounting horror. They showed everything. The secret meetings where Earth's destruction was planned, the false peace treaty offered to humanity, the planet-killer weapons deployment. But worse were the modern images. Vast human cities suspended in artificial worlds, fleets that dwarfed anything the Council possessed, and technology that bordered on the impossible. "We cannot verify these recordings," Vex Thor said, his voice wavering. "They could be fabrications. They're real." The new voice came from the chamber center, where Dr. Vina Xaril stood before the Council. "I found the original records in our own archives. We did this. We tried to commit genocide, and now our victims have returned." The chamber erupted in chaos. Younger representatives shouted questions while the older ones, those whose families had held power for generations, sat in pale silence. They had always known this day might come. The main display shifted to a live feed from orbit. The human fleet had surrounded every major Council world simultaneously, their black ships forming an impenetrable barrier between planetary defense systems and open space. Yet they hadn't fired a single shot. "The human commander is requesting to address the Council," an aide announced, their voice trembling. Before Vex Thor could respond, the chamber's security systems were overridden. Admiral Sarah Chen's image appeared above the Council floor, her expression stern but not hostile. "Members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice carrying the weight of 12 millennia of exile. 3 hours ago, we transmitted proof of your predecessors' crimes to every world in Council space. We've shown them what was done to Earth, and what humanity has become in the years since." The chamber was absolutely silent now. Chen continued, "We've also shown them something else. Proof that 342 of your oldest Council members have used illegal life extension technology to remain in power since Earth's destruction. The same individuals who ordered our extinction are still here, still ruling." Chaos erupted again as representatives turned to stare at the ancient members in their midst. Some tried to flee, only to find the chamber's exits sealed. We are not here for revenge. Chen's voice cut through the pandemonium. If we wanted to destroy you, we could have done it without revealing ourselves. We're here to correct a historical wrong and ensure it never happens again. The holographic display shifted, showing massive hospital ships and aid vessels moving into position around Council worlds. Our terms are simple, Chen continued. The 342 original Council members will stand trial for crimes against sentient life. They will be judged by a tribunal of representatives from every spacefaring species, including newly contacted civilizations the Council has been deliberately isolating. Vex Thor found his voice. You can't simply. We can and we will, Chen interrupted. Your planetary defense systems have already been neutralized. Your weapons platforms are offline. We did this without harming a single life to demonstrate two things: our capability and our restraint. The display changed again, showing scenes from human worlds. Cities where modified humans lived alongside artificial intelligences and uplifted species. Vast research centers dedicated to medical science and environmental restoration. Ships designed not just for war, but for exploration and aid. Look at what humanity became, Chen said softly. Not the monsters you feared, but something your ancestors never imagined. A civilization that grew strong enough to enforce justice, yet wise enough to temper it with mercy. A new set of images appeared. The ruins of Earth, still floating in space after 12,000 years. We remember what was done to us. But we choose to respond not with genocide, but with justice. Not with destruction, but with reformation. The chamber's lights dimmed as Chen delivered her final words. You have 1 hour to surrender the original council members. After that, we begin dismantling your power structure piece by piece. We won't harm civilians, but we will not allow your corrupt system to continue. The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in chaos. Representatives argued and accused each other while the ancient council members sat in stunned silence, their millennia of power crumbling around them. Dr. Vina watched it all from her position on the floor, her scientific mind cataloging the end of one era and the beginning of another. The humans had indeed become exactly what the council had feared, a power greater than themselves, but they had also become something the council had never imagined. A species that could hold the power of gods, yet choose to use it with the wisdom of sages. The next hour would determine the future of galactic civilization, and for the first time in 12,000 years, that future would be shaped by justice rather than fear. Operation Starfall. The tactical display aboard the HFY Prometheus showed hundreds of blue dots systematically surrounding a massive red structure, the Council's premier military academy on Arcturus II. Captain Maya Patel watched the precision dance of her fleet with quiet satisfaction. After 12,000 years of preparation, Operation Starfall was proceeding exactly as planned. Status report, she commanded, her voice calm despite the historic nature of their mission. All Council defense platforms have been isolated, her tactical officer, Atlas, reported. Its holographic form flickered beside her command chair. Their quantum targeting systems have been redirected to empty space. They're effectively blind. The academy below housed 50,000 of the Council's most elite military personnel and advanced weapons research. In the past, taking such a facility would have cost thousands of lives. Today, it would fall without a single casualty. Deploy the resonance field, Maya ordered. Across her fleet, ships activated their most sophisticated non-lethal weapon, a technology that had taken humanity millennia to perfect. The field spread across the Academy complex like an invisible tide. Inside the facility, every piece of Council military technology simply stopped working. Weapons powered down. Communications went dark. Even their most basic tools became inert lumps of metal and plastic. The only systems still functioning were life support and medical equipment. Humanity had been very specific in their targeting. They're panicking, Atlas reported, monitoring the facility's internal sensors. But no casualties. The containment fields are preventing any accidents from the technology shutdown. Maya nodded, remembering her training. Operation Starfall wasn't about destruction. It was about demonstrating an irrefutable truth. Humanity's technological superiority was so vast that resistance was not merely futile, but unnecessary. "Begin the broadcast," she commanded. In every room of the academy, on every personal device that still functioned, the same message began to play. It wasn't a demand for surrender or a threat. Instead, it was an offer. Officers and personnel of the Council Military Academy, Admiral Chen's recorded voice echoed through the halls. "Your weapons have been disabled. Your defenses are down. But you are not our enemies. You are victims of the same system that tried to destroy humanity, a system built on fear, secrecy, and the concentration of power in the hands of the few." The message continued as Maya watched the tactical display. Other human fleets were conducting similar operations across Council space, systematically neutralizing military installations while leaving civilian infrastructure untouched. "We offer you a choice," Chen's voice continued. "Stay here as prisoners, treated with full rights under galactic law, or join us. See what humanity has become. Learn why your leaders feared us so much that they tried to destroy us. Then make your own decision about what the future should be." In the academy below, confusion was turning to curiosity. Maya watched through the sensors as Council military personnel began to gather in common areas, discussing what they'd seen and heard. The truth about Earth's destruction had shaken their belief in their leaders. The demonstration of humanity's power had shaken their belief in their own superiority. "First group is requesting transport," Atlas reported. 300 officers want to accept our offer." Maya allowed herself a small smile. This was why humanity had waited so long to return, not just to build their strength, but to ensure they could win without becoming the monsters the Council had feared they would be. "Deploy the medical ships," she ordered. "Full scans of everyone before they board. I want to make sure the Council didn't leave any surprises in their people's biochemistry." The operation continued through the night. Across Council space, military installations fell without a shot fired. Research facilities were secured. Weapon stockpiles were neutralized. But hospitals remained untouched. Schools stayed open. Civilian life continued almost normally, except for the black ships in orbit that served as constant reminders of humanity's return. In her command chair, Maya reviewed the reports from other operations. The Council's supposedly impregnable fortress worlds had fallen in hours. Their secret research bases had been located and secured. Their fleets had been rendered powerless by technology they couldn't even understand. But what impressed her most were the defection numbers. Thousands of Council military personnel were accepting their offer to learn the truth. They were choosing knowledge over ignorance, understanding over fear. "Admiral Chen is signaling," Atlas announced. "Phase 1 of Operation Starfall is complete. All major military assets have been neutralized." Maya looked at the tactical display one last time. The Council's military infrastructure, built over tens of thousands of years, had been dismantled in less than a day. Not through violence or destruction, but through such an overwhelming demonstration of technological superiority that resistance became meaningless. "Send word to the fleet," she ordered. "Phase 2 begins at dawn." As her ships maintained their vigil over the academy, Maya thought about the history she'd learned as a child. The Council had tried to destroy humanity because they feared what humans might become. In doing so, they had forced humanity to become something far more powerful than they could have imagined, but also far wiser. Tomorrow, Phase 2 would begin. The systematic reform of Council space, the establishment of new governments, the implementation of true democracy. But tonight, humanity had proven something important. True power isn't about the ability to destroy. It's about the wisdom to find better solutions. The stars shone steadily above her fleet, witnesses to a revolution that would reshape the galaxy not through violence, but through the quiet power of irresistible change. A new dawn. 1 year after Operation Starfall, the new Galactic Assembly held its first session in a place heavy with symbolism, a massive space station constructed in orbit around the asteroid field that had once been Earth. The station's grand chamber, built in a perfect circle to represent equality, hosted representatives from over 10,000 civilizations, many of which had been deliberately isolated by the old council. Dr. Vina Xaril stood at the speaker's podium, her role as chief historian giving her the honor of opening this historic session. Behind her, through vast windows, the scattered remains of humanity's homeworld drifted like a solemn reminder of why they were here. A year ago, she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. We witnessed the return of a species we thought lost to history. We expected revenge. We expected destruction. Instead, we received something far more precious, a chance to build a better future. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing scenes from the past year. Council worlds transformed by human medical technology, their populations now free from diseases that had plagued them for millennia. Former military academies converted into centers of cultural exchange and scientific research. Ancient borders dissolved as faster-than-light travel, previously restricted by the Council, became available to all. Among the assembled representatives sat Sarah Chen, no longer wearing her admiral's uniform, but the simple diplomatic attire of Earth's representative. Besides her sat Marcus Santos, his historian's eyes taking in every detail of this moment they had spent 12,000 years preparing for. The trial of the original council concluded last month. Vina continued. Those who ordered Earth's destruction have been sentenced not to death, but to work alongside the descendants of those they try to eliminate. They will spend the remainder of their artificially extended lives helping to rebuild the worlds they kept in darkness. The displays showed more images, human teachers sharing advanced technology with eager students from across the galaxy, mixed crews of former Council military and human officers working together on humanitarian missions, new cities rising on worlds that had been kept intentionally underdeveloped by the old regime. But perhaps the most remarkable transformation, Vina said, her spots glowing with emotion, has been in how we view ourselves. The old council maintained power through fear. Fear of the different, fear of change, fear of potential rivals. Humanity has shown us a different path. The chamber's central hologram activated, displaying a new symbol, a spiral galaxy cradled in protective hands, representing the Assembly's commitment to guardianship rather than dominance. We are here today not as conquerors and conquered, not as victims and perpetrators, but as equals, Vina declared. For the first time in galactic history, every spacefaring civilization has a voice in this chamber. Every world has access to the same technology, the same opportunities, the same rights under our new laws. Sarah Chen rose to speak next, her presence commanding attention without demanding it. 12,000 years ago, humanity was feared for our potential. That fear led to an attempt to destroy us. Today, we return not to prove that fear justified, but to prove it wrong. She gestured to the asteroid field visible through the windows. Earth remains as it was, a memorial to what fear and prejudice can destroy. But look around you. Look at what understanding and cooperation can build. The station itself was a testament to this philosophy. Built using human technology, but incorporating architectural elements from thousands of cultures, it represented the best of what a united galaxy could achieve. We have established the Earth Memorial University, Chen continued, where any species can learn our advanced technologies. We have opened our medical facilities to all. Our terraforming expertise is being used to restore worlds damaged by centuries of exploitation. But most importantly, we have shown that power does not have to corrupt, that advancement does not have to lead to destruction. As if to emphasize her words, a new ship emerged from faster-than-light travel near the station, the first of the Assembly's joint exploration vessels, crewed by members of 100 different species. Its mission was to seek out new civilizations, not to conquer or control them, but to offer them a place in the galactic community. The ship's name, displayed proudly on its hull, captured the spirit of this new era, Renaissance. As the Assembly session continued, Dr. Vina made notes for future historians. She wrote of how humanity had achieved something unprecedented, holding absolute power yet choosing to use it not for dominance, but for elevation. They had returned not as conquerors seeking revenge, but as teachers offering wisdom. The galaxy was entering a new age. The old barriers of fear and suspicion were falling away, replaced by bonds of cooperation and mutual understanding. And orbiting the remains of their destroyed homeworld, humanity had finally achieved their true destiny, not as the monsters the Council had feared, but as the guardians of a united galaxy. The stars shone on this new beginning, their light touching worlds that were now free to reach for them together.